Okay. Show me.
Alright, fellas, I'm ready to fight.
Oh my gosh!
That's not me! That's not Cockroach Tony Montana!
We want the black people on the motherfucking wall of fame now!
Is that what you want?
I want you to be a hockey player!
Alright, I'm not a fucking athlete. This is my fucking way. This is how I win.
You go in pieces, asshole.
The Where We Gems Movie Podcast, your home for the most underrated and underappreciated films.
Hello and welcome to There Will Be Gems Movie Podcast, episode number 15.
16.
Is it? Oh, shit. Alright, let's try that again.
Leave it in there. I did that once too, though, except we didn't catch it.
Oh, this is episode 16.
Yeah, we had two number 10s.
Oh, we did. The lucky number 10 twice.
Someone's like,
Hey! Anyways, with me I have Tyler.
Hola.
And Ryan.
Oh.
Both brothers, both different size heights. How you guys doing this week?
Oh, you know, just peachy.
Mediocre.
Mediocre? Fair enough. Kind of a shitty week.
Yeah.
What do you mean mediocre?
Because, like, my entire office called out of work today. So, it was just.
You called out with them in solidarity.
No, I did not. I should have. No, I got to take all their call outs, actually. Like, I got in and I answered the phone. And back to back to back, that's what I heard. So that was a great way to start off the day.
Hello, this is Tyler. How can I do extra work today?
Yeah.
Wow. Call out. What the fuck?
Literally, like, the second I got a text, like, on my way to work for the first one, and then I answered the phone, then I hung it up, and then the next person called right when I hung it up.
Oh, God.
I was just like, I hate myself. It was like 7:15. I texted my boss, and I was like,
Well, I'm gonna beat my meat.
Boss, I'm not even here. And everyone called out.
Literally. Like, literally.
Boy, have I been there.
Good luck.
So, like, I was taking calls that I was on a forklift, and then I was unloading trucks coming in, and then someone finally showed up to help.
Salvation.
Yeah.
Did your boss come in?
Yeah, like 8:30.
Well, better late than never.
Yeah. It's hopefully tomorrow will be better.
You gotta love the boss of any job, because he always gets paid way more and does way less work.
Like John.
Yeah, like John.
That's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
You ever have a situation like that where your entire staff just calls out?
That's happened a couple times, yeah.
Yeah,
What do you do?
it happened to me because of Blaze.
Because what did Blaze do?
He called out like when it was like it was only supposed to be me and him when he like worked at Bar Associates for a very short stint.
Oh, I even forgot about that.
And he like just called out and just like quit, and I'm like, oh, I have to work 14 hours today.
You know, Blaze told me something pretty funny today, actually. So someone at the restaurant Blaze works at, apparently like got COVID, and then just didn't tell it. It just didn't tell anyone for 10 days. It just like went to work and shit.
Well, that's really smart.
That's
And then he got
I
fired.
hope they got fired.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah, as they should.
I was gonna say, yeah.
You knowing it's not even like it was like one day. It was like 10 days of potentially exposing people.
Yeah, and he like
deserved to be fired.
And because of that, he put like it put like 10 people like out of work for like 10 days.
Oof.
Because like they're exposed to him, so like they just like couldn't like 10. They just like had to like half their staff like just like couldn't work or something.
Oof.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
Yikes.
I mean, it's pretty easy to run the store just by myself, so it doesn't really
I've done
bother me. Yeah. It's not hard to do a one person shift.
Well, I was only alone for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I could handle it for then. But
I did 2 days alone, like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
But the issue is like everybody has a full day of work So like when there's a lot of people not there, and then you have to make up when you like instead of like two people making up like one person's, like when you have two people making up three people's work, and having to get it done, that's like throughout the day is miserable.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I literally.
The episode I tried.
Oh yeah. So yeah, topic of the week.
Oh yeah.
Topic of the week. On a lighter note.
On a lighter note, favorite buddy movie, and why? Tyler, you go first.
All right. So when I was thinking buddy movies, the first thing that came to mind was like a buddy cop movie. And I figured I was gonna pick something like that, and then I pulled up like my little movie app.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and unless I rewatched this movie like the last couple weeks, I wouldn't have even thought of this movie. But because of that, I'm gonna pick the Grand Budapest Hotel. It's not something you think about when it's a buddy movie. But the whole movie. Think about it, the whole movie is the bellboy hanging out with like M. Gustav going doing stuff.
Okay.
He's just like he meets him, then like they go around and like they go to like the widow's family, and then they come back. Like they hang out all movie. Then he goes to jail and he gets him out of jail.
Give you it, but
I wouldn't have thought of it, but because I rewatched it, like that's what made me like remember, like, oh shit, this is actually just a buddy movie.
This is the movie.
It just elevated.
Fair enough. Ryan,
I guess I still
yours?
disagree. Mine's Shaun of the Dead. You know,
Okay.
two actual buddies
All right.
going around having hijinks.
Fair enough. Any particular reason?
That's probably that is part of like probably my favorite trilogy of all time.
Oh, okay.
So, and the most buddy movie out of all of them. The other ones are more sad.
That's honestly my least favorite movie in the trilogy by a lot.
Well, yeah, it's my least favorite in the trilogy, but like the other two aren't really like super buddy movies.
That's true.
Yeah. That movie's like just adored. I don't see it. I don't get it.
What do you
Not
mean?
for
It's
me.
fantastic.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't get the love for it. I think it's pretty medium.
Yeah.
Definitely ain't no Crash. I know.
That's a buddy movie, huh?
Two
buddies hanging out.
I guess.
I wouldn't say two buddies hanging out.
Yeah. Two buddies banging
So, John, what's your buddy movie?
So I'm actually gonna, for this one, I'm gonna pick I Love You Man. Mainly because I also saw it with my best friend on Easter when that movie came out. So it was two buddies seeing a buddy movie, and it's a very solid Paul Rudd and Jason Segel movie. So I'm gonna pick that. Did we share popcorn? No, we
Yeah.
we got drunk at his house and then went to go see that movie.
You guys split an icy.
It's
like,
a weird movie to go see together when you're drunk.
Well, he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't really care. He's like, why don't we go see a movie? And I'm like, okay. So we ended up just going to see I Love You Man because that was like playing at the time.
Man, I remember like being in high school, getting dropped off at the movies, and just like seeing 3 movies.
Yeah, that was in 2009. I want to say something like that. 08,
Oh, so I was doing this way before that. We had
cars. So we could
Well,
on Blu-ray?
on Blu-ray, yeah.
that was actually the first time I saw Crash.
Oh God.
Not Crash,
Yeah?
Crank. Not
Okay.
Crank.
Let's say, what theater did you see Crash in?
When I was in high school.
Well, yeah.
Fucking
Like,
No, that's how I saw it. It was when Crank was in theaters. I was like, I'm seeing another movie. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go see this Crank movie.
like, wow, it's life-changing.
I feel like the only theater around here that would play Crash would be like the Towers in South Hadley.
The Amherst Tower.
I don't think...
The Amherst
I don't
place
think-
was.
Yeah,
That's it. Just the place in Amherst.
that's fair.
It was like an art house place in Hartford. I think
I saw the one in Amherst. That's where I saw
Yeah.
Parasite.
Parasite Eve.
Like in November, before people knew about it.
Oh,
fucking
Yeah.
hipster.
yeah, look at this.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, he sucks toes.
It was getting hype in the horror group. That's how much people like that movie.
Yeah. It is solid.
I still haven't seen it, mostly because of subtitles.
Yeah.
You watch anime.
I watched dubbed anime.
Oh my god, you're such a simp.
Well, because I do multiple things while I'm watching anime. Like I don't just sit there and watch it. I have it on the background, basically.
I watched a bunch of anime this past weekend, and only one of the things was subtitled.
What'd you watch?
I liked one of them.
No, well, I think the subtitle one was Millennium Actress. I think it was subtitled. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Never heard of it.
Yeah. It was a Satoshi Kon movie. I think.
Oh, I just watched hentai.
Oh,
It's a sequel to Millennium
you're one of
Falcon.
those guys.
Yeah.
One of those tentacle guys.
Like a good tentacle.
Tentacle guy.
Anyway,
Tentacle guy.
so speaking of tentacles, let's get right into this movie.
There's a lot more punks than there was 4 years earlier, but there was also as many posers. Posers were people that looked like punks, but they did it for fashion. And they were fools. They'd say, "Anarchy in the UK." You see, posers.
Let me just explain this to you. It was my instinct to react that way because you punched my friend.
I'm the bouncer for the bund. I see. Should be a torn shirt, huh? With a picture of Ronald Reagan on it, maybe with a bullet hole in his hand. That would be more popular.
Yeah, you're a good man, Mark. We need more men like you in America.
Who let you boys out of the State Institute? We better get you boys back in the hospital.
No. It's all right, man. We're from England. Hey, you're that singer dude. So what'd you think? Good show, or?
No, I'll never play this down again, man.
No? So, too tame for you British types, or?
No, it's too blatant violent.
Thank you. What you doing yourself, man?
Man, I'm a fucking beggar now. Fucking sucks.
Yeah, dude. What about the Nazis?
No, I don't see Nazis as devil worship.
Oh, you don't?
I see them more like a gathering of people.
Hey, Bob, you're early. My dad was flipping out. Had to get out of the house. Well, Mike and Eddie are coming, so it should be a good game. I have this really good dungeon. You know, Steve-O, this D&D shit, it sucks. What'd you say? I said it sucks. But you're a 7th level magic user. I mean, what do you have to complain about? Things are going great for your character. Steve-O, it's bullshit though, man. Magic user, what the hell's that? And these elves and dwarves and dragons, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this week it was my pick, and I chose SLC Punk. What are everyone's initial thoughts?
I quite enjoyed it.
I actually really like this movie too.
Me 3.
I didn't like the aesthetic at first, and I thought it was kind of dumb, like the first 10 to 20 minutes. But then, it just really grew on me.
Yeah.
It's a solid movie. The first time I watched this, I want to say it was in 2000. I was probably 15 or 16 when I first saw this movie.
Oh, I would have fucking hated this movie when I was 15.
I enjoyed it then. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have not been able to get past the punk shit. I just would have thought it was stupid.
Yeah, that's the
Fucking
thing.
punks.
I hate punk music and I hate the punk aesthetic, but I really like this movie. It's
This
just
movie
a solid
is-
movie.
This movie's in disguise. It's actually a real kind of novel novel, more mature concept, but it's hidden in this goofy movie marketed for high schoolers.
Yeah, it's neat. So with a movie like this, how would you like to proceed? Do you want to go scene by scene, or you just want to kind of talk about it, then we get into spoilers? It's not really.
I think we should just talk. I think we should just talk about it.
Yeah, because it's not like a movie where you have to really break down scenes. It's
Yeah.
more of the story. So
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of movies like this lately, and I'm really getting hot on those. Where movies like this, where nothing actually happens, you just kind of vibe and here's a story that just stuff just I don't know.
yeah, that's why I
There's
feel-
no real thick running narrative.
Yeah, that's why I figured it was a solid pick because it's it was something more fun and just more of a free watch than anything. It's something it's easy,
Yeah, it was if you cut Magnolia in half and reduce the budget by a lot and
Yeah,
turned it into punks.
yeah.
Did it all in shaky cam.
I like shaky cam.
The shaky cam gives it character though. This is the kind of movie.
I like it. I was just making a joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It reminds me of old school skate docs. When
That's yeah. That's kind of you ever see just old punk videos on YouTube?
yeah.
I hope it's still there. There's this like really like almost eerie video of a show from the Offspring in like 1987 that someone filmed on a cassette, and it's like the most bizarre circle pit of this like thrash punk music. It's like such a snapshot in history.
It's the good old days.
Yeah.
All right, so who wants to start off by sharing some feelings and thoughts?
Well, why don't we just talk about the characters? So,
Nice.
basically, you're centering around Matthew Lillard's character, Steve-O, in this movie, and he's kind of like at a point in his life where you can. It's kind of a make and break point for a lot of people in their life. Like right after high school, where you can kind of dick around and like not go to school but do something with your time, or you can go to school, or you can just do absolutely nothing and kind of just get into bad habits. And he's kind of he's in the punk scene that like it's all about rebelling. It's set in the 80s, and they're kind of towards the bottom end of the spectrum. It's kind of them transitioning through that final phase before going into young adulthood. And it's like, but it's presented like real goofy. So it's kind of, you think this movie is going to be like a little bit more of like, just like a goofy, like open-ended comedy, but it really is like more of a mature,
Once I saw it was about punks, I kind of was like, oh, I kind of like knew the vibe was gonna go, so I didn't really expect I expected obviously just like some goofs and gaff, but I didn't expect a comedy out of it. Yeah, so, I mean the entire like actual part of the punk movement is like anti-establishment and born out of.
I didn't feel like it was going to be a comedy movie before we started watching it, but like just how the movie started out with like the opening credits. Yeah. I kind of like I thought it was like kind of telling us that this is gonna be pretty goofy. Yeah, and it does start kind of like that too. I think that's probably why I was turned off a little at first. Where they're introducing the characters in like the goofiest way. Well, they do this really interesting thing in this movie that at first it was a little jarring, but this is like one of the things I really warmed up on. Was how like they go to like tell stories, and then like they go off into a side story, and we just like instead of him just like doing it quick or something, like you get this whole like little subplot scene that go longer than just like a quick scene. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, that was like when like they do the Mark thing, like that was like a 5-minute diatribe.
Yeah, the whole Mark, the rich drug dealer guy, right?
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah. I thought like the movie was transitioning to like some like type of like crime plot with him when that was going on, and then it just goes back into like the show.
That's Hans Hummer from Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo, man.
I blocked that movie out of my mind. Yeah,
I didn't. I was like, where do I know this guy from? And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's one of the worst movies you'll ever see.
Yeah, I would. Rob Schneider in it. What do you expect?
I remember like being at that impressionable age probably before that movie came out, thinking Rob Schneider was funny. Like I thought, I remember thinking like the hot chick and the animal were funny.
I do like those movies. Those are pretty solid.
Because you grew up at that time. You showed this to like a 10-year. You showed those to like a 10 or 12-year-old now. They'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, like my movie watching experience was greatly influenced by the fact I was watching like horror movies by like 7 years old. Like shit like Halloween because of you and Dad in part.
Dad had like no fucks about what he put out on the TV.
Yeah, no shit.
He really liked the war movies.
3.
Classic. This is classic.
Yeah, I discovered those when I was like 11 or 12. So you would have been like really young, and I'm just like watching Halloween.
I mean, you got to start them off young, right?
I'm just so burned out on horror though from watching horror from all those years that it's like I've literally not watched a horror movie yet this year.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm kind of taking a little side step on what I normally watch. I've been watching a lot of like crime, thriller, drama type movies.
Yeah, I've watched mostly dramas this year. Like I think a lot of it's been like more like older stuff. And like I try to wake up in the morning and watch like a long, like on the weekends I'll watch like a long movie.
Yeah, and like we just finished up all the Harry Potter movies, so that was a fun romp to the.
That sounds miserable.
They're not bad, but they're not great either.
They're not exactly like they're
Yeah.
fine. Like to watch it like when they come out or like see it once.
Yeah.
But like, do you really want to watch the same movie 7 times?
I don't mind watching them because I think the stories are cool, but I just
They are cool. Like you could do way worse movies like that. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather watch all the Harry Potters before I watch all the Hunger Games or something.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly. Like the only complaint I have with those movies in particular is that the magic is just so boring to look at. And it's like all the same shit. It's just boring.
Yeah,
that's like the only really complaint. I mean, and other than that, like the acting's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, like,
I've watching a lot of weird stuff. I watched a lot of anime so far. I watched a lot of I've watched mostly dramas. I think my stats that I've watched like 22 dramas.
Yeah, I just I watched Catch Me If You Can. I'm finishing up Goodfellas tonight, and I watched The Departed last night.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're going for the crime movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did I've been watching. Yeah, I watched a ton of anime this weekend. We went side chat while you went away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went side chat. We were talking about how I'm burned down horror movies, and I haven't watched any horror movies this year.
It's a movie podcast, Ryan. It's about the movies.
About the movie we showed.
But let's get back to the original movie. But I do have some trivia bivia coming your way. Matthew Lillard's character Steve-O was originally supposed to have bleached blonde hair. However, when getting the bleach job done, the peroxide actually burned his scalp and caused a whole bunch of cuts and stuff like that. So dyeing his hair blue was actually a way of hiding it. So that's why he got the blue hair in the.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty punk.
Yeah, it's pretty punk rock.
Punk.
Yeah. So the story's basically his inner conflict transitioning in this phase of his life. He's got push from his dad, who's got more money than Jesus, apparently, right? He's loaded.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
Yeah, he's a lawyer. He can get him into any school.
Yeah. He was also a golfer too.
Yeah, he's also a pro golfer.
Yeah.
The great Shooter McGavin.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, it would be cool if that was my dad. Shooter McGavin. Anyways.
He's kind of a prick, though.
Yeah, but it'd be funny.
Eat shit for breakfast.
He was the same character in every movie. I love it.
He does kind of, yeah. Even in Magnolia, he was the same character.
He's the same character in literally every movie.
It's pretty funny.
You know who's the same character in literally every movie too?
Who?
John C. Reilly.
No.
Literally every movie, he's the same character.
Nah.
Yeah,
okay, maybe a little bit.
He's always just a bumbly guy.
Yeah, he was like, wow, this is really nice.
Even in
Every
Gangs of New
movie.
York, he's still a bumbly guy.
He's for the town drunk.
No, he's a cop.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's either a weird, funny dude or a cop.
Yeah, the bumbling idiot.
That's fair. I'll give you that one.
All right.
I'll give you that.
So anyways, yeah, his dad's super rich and he can get him to any school, specifically Harvard. And Steve-O, unlike some of his friends, well, not really, but Steve-O, although he has this rebel punk image, heavy into it, he's actually a really smart kid and got all good grades.
Mm-hmm.
And put in the effort to get all good grades.
It took pretty long.
That's where his inner conflict really starts. And he claims he took pre-law just so we know all the bullshit laws of the man using to keep him down. And he kind of bums around with his buds, mainly Heroin Bob.
Heroin Bob.
Never done a drug in his life. Why did they call him Heroin Bob again?
Because he hates needles. Yeah, because he doesn't like needles.
Yeah. Never done a drug in his life. But he's paranoid as fuck, and the whole movie just goes on just tangents and kind of just I don't know what he does. Kind of just exists.
Yeah, he's his friend. He's the guy. He's the guy that had to have the mohawk.
He's the buddy. This movie's not really about him. He just has screen time, if that makes sense.
The movie is more about Steve-O's inner reflection of himself.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants to do with his life, but he's he doesn't want to grow up just yet. But at the end of the movie, he's he gets that final push to say, okay, let's do something with my life instead of just dicking around in Salt Lake, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I looked it up. That's what SLC Punk stands for. That made me laugh really hard. Salt Lake City.
You didn't get that right away?
Yeah.
No, I just did it for some reason.
Wow. Round of applause for Tyler.
Also in the squad, we got Jason Segel's character, Mike.
He's fucking crazy.
This is the best character in the movie.
100%, yeah. He's so good.
So, why don't you tell us what you love about this character?
Well, okay, so he's an 18-year-old kid in this movie that just kind of like hangs out with these punk kids, and like he looks like a normal dude until like someone gets in his like they're at the concert and the band's playing, and then Heroin Bob gets pissed off or whatever and jumps up on stage, and then like they start a fight, and then like the bouncer's trying to get like Heroin Bob like off stage and stuff like that. And so this dude Mike runs up on stage like with the most pissed off fucking look, hops on the stage and just fucking houses this fucking bouncer like on stage.
Yeah, that whole scene was gold.
Yeah, and he does that continuously throughout the movie where he just like fucks people up, and it's hilarious.
I love like the aesthetic they gave him though.
Yeah,
just the
clean cut kid.
Yeah, the clean cut kid. He's so polite the whole movie.
Yeah.
That scene's fucking gold though. Like he's so matter of fact, just beats up the fucking bouncer.
And then they're at the party afterwards. He's like, "Dude, I'm sorry. Like, you know, you were beating up on my friend." He's like, apologizes to him.
What would your initial instinct be? He's like, he notices it when he's like, "Hold this!" Rushes the stage.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
It's
gold.
When they're like going through his backstory, and he's just like, he decided to break every car,
every window,
needed no windows,
and then he fought 3 policemen.
And then he broke out of the police car.
Yeah, they thought he was on Angel Dust, which would describe how he was able to do it, but nope, that was just Mike. So good.
Easily the best. He's so funny in this movie. He plays that role perfect.
Yeah, you know who also plays like the same character every movie? Jason Segel.
Yeah, these comedy guys, they play it close to their heart.
Yeah, like literally, like when I was like, because like I remembered he was in it, but I forgot at the same time that he had a big part in it, kind of, and like just watching him, like this is literally like every character he's ever been.
Like I do one funny thing really well.
Because like at the time they were doing this movie, he was also doing Undeclared too, like the Judd Apatow TV show.
Yeah,
and he played like the same guy in that show almost.
I honestly haven't even seen that much of him.
Really?
To like have a fair assessment.
I've seen a lot of his movies.
I haven't seen too many.
Yeah, Forgetting Sarah Marshall and I Love You Man.
I've seen that.
Movies.
He hangs dong.
He does hang dong.
He does.
Twice.
That caught me so off guard. It's like, oh.
He just straight up hangs dong. And he wrote the movie, so you know he added that in.
I remember the first time I saw that movie, I saw it on Comedy Central, then I saw the unedited version. Or like the scene with like him and Kristen Bell, or is it Kristen Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah, when she's like giving him like a bad, like it was just like a bad blowjob or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, where is this in the movie?
Yeah, that Comedy Central version sucks.
Yeah. I love it like when you hear a movie on Comedy Central that you've seen so many times, and you can kind of just like.
I'm like that with 40-Year-Old Virgin, because like a 40-Year-Old Virgin, I saw the uncut edition first, so every time I watch it on TV, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, you just hear the edits.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, that's Beer Fest for me.
Yeah, movies just get butchered on TV.
Yeah,
it sucks.
So there's 2 girls in this movie that are kind of just there. Trish and Sandy.
Sandy.
They're only kind of proxies to like.
Oh my god!
They're not really important.
Well, Trish is kind of important.
I think she is, but
I mean, they're very just like they're more by name characters
than
like anything else.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know what Trish looked like until like they were out on like the salt flats.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, at least like Sandy's more important than Trish.
Mm.
Yeah,
Both kind of ancillary characters.
Yeah. Sandy's kind of Steve-O's girl, which that kind of plays in later on. But also, so that's really it. Other ones, quick shout out to Devon Sawa's character.
He has my favorite scene in the movie. He has hands down my favorite scene in the movie.
Is that the acid kid?
The acid kid.
When he's like talking to the lady about the job. I love that part.
Yeah. That's like that's like I like how whenever they introduce a character, they just need to explain something. Like that's what they do. Like they just like when they go off like on that little tangent, where you just get like a whole nother like 5-minute short movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty sick. I like that part. He's like running from the cops with the acid mill in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just becomes fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love when he's trying to get the job in the clothing store.
This is like the most 90s cast I've ever seen.
It's pretty 90s, yeah.
It screams 90s. I love it.
It's solid. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. I got some. I think everyone's got nostalgia for like the year they did all their like primitive like TV viewing and shit.
Yeah.
Because like, you just recognize that aesthetic.
Nah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
This movie's very 90s, even though it's set in 85.
Yeah. So, as we said, there was the fight at the punk show, and that's kind of what starts our movie off after that. Like, up until then, you're really just getting a bunch of character introductions.
Yeah.
So you're at this party, and this is like, at the party here, this is where, like, I visibly started warming up to the movie. After the whole, like, thing with Jason Segel's character.
Mike.
And then Mike. And then they go out. That's when they do like the tangent with or that was right before this with Mark, the drug guy. That part, I was dying at that part too.
Well, when they're in this house.
Yeah, when they're in his house, they do like the Mark subplot where they're just like, Mark's whole family died when he was 6.
Yeah. And he's like, you see this TV? He's like showing them all his shit. I love it.
Yeah, just like showing them everything in the house. I was laughing at that.
Yeah.
You show him the settings on his shower head.
Yeah. He's like
those are cool. It's really nice.
His voice reminds me so much of what's his name from The Room.
Tommy.
I don't think he sounds like that.
He does kind of sound like Tommy a little bit.
I think you just hear a European voice. You're like, "Hey, Tommy."
I mean, possibly, but it's very specific European, you know.
He sounds like he was making fun of French people.
I don't think so. He did not sound French.
That's the vibe I got. He was playing hard into like the Nordic guy.
He sounded more German.
Nordic?
I don't know. I'm just gonna show you.
You're just throwing darts at Europe right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that doesn't get.
No!
I think he was Italian.
Yeah, he sounded more German than anything.
Well,
European.
Yeah,
he was funny.
Yes.
I liked his little character subplot.
Yeah,
but
Nordic man.
Nordic man.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty silly.
But yeah, he's
right.
he's my favorite one-off character in this movie. Just because he's like just there and then he's gone.
So
it's like he sells drugs, so
so he's okay.
Basically, yeah.
It's called Old Man at the Show. Well, I'm sorry, you're older than everyone here.
Not wrong.
But so at the party, this is like the side plot story that I was like, okay, I think I like this movie. When they're talking about the beer,
yeah,
how they can only get like shitty beer in Utah, and they go on this whole story like, so we gotta go to Wyoming and get it, and we're fucking aliens in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Like that. Like after that, and they just go right back to the party like nothing happened. Like I was like, okay, this is cool. I like this movie. I like what they're doing here.
They were the devil. I kind of feel that though, because like when I was a teenager, I had the long black hair and gauges and stuff, and I had the lip rings and all that. And I lived in like upstate New York, where that was not common, so I used to get stared at all the fucking time.
I would even remember like a couple of years ago when I would go to like see you in New Hampshire, and I'd like just show up in like a tank top with like short shorts and just have a bunch of tattoos of like I was a fucking alien in New Hampshire.
Yeah, like even I was too, and like I like even like with my plugs and stuff too, because like I got rid of all the other shit. Like I still like people would like kind of like look at me weird a little bit, and I'm just like, oh, what's up?
Yeah, whenever I would go to like that grocery store to buy beer, I'd always get like I'd always get weird looks.
I know, especially if I was with my pops, like doing something, they'd be like, old man, is this guy kidnapping you? Like, no, my grandfather. Trust me, he's the last person I want to kidnap me.
I think this whole setting, this in Salt Lake City, like being known for the whole Mormon community, I think that was pretty smart. It made sense, like when you'd have these like goofy rebel kids.
Yeah, and especially for them not to be like oversaturated either.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, like I like the part where they're like in the mall and he's like talking about the posers or whatever, and it's just like that one kid's like, and I came in the UK. And like I like that because like
I like his rant like I'm the UK, like what is this fucking UK shit?
Yeah.
Like you're in America, you punk, like you be punk in America. What is this UK shit?
Yeah, which is pretty funny because like obviously with every I guess subclass of people, there's always like people that you would call the posers. So we were kind of like that in high school too, like us emo kids. We'd be like, these kids are just posers. They don't feel the hate.
Posers.
They don't.
All these
they don't
gatekeepers.
know. They don't know the pain.
Yeah. Ooh, the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what a poser. What people do when they're a poser. It's generally speaking people that are just gatekeeping.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like most of the time it isn't people being posers. They just like they feel intimidated, so they just gatekeep the fuck out of it.
Well, yeah.
I just group all those people into one category. I just call them all haters. Like y'all just haters.
Okay, you've been watching too much reality YouTube.
Y'all haters.
Y'all haters, man. Y'all are haters and masturbators. I'll tell you what, man, get her done.
Alright, so after this party, where does the movie really take us from here?
So after the party, it kind of just like that's when you kind of see like the emotional split with Steve-O, because then he goes out with his dad. He goes out to dinner and has the hot dog and potato chips at the fancy restaurant, which is
I like that. And his dad's got like a porterhouse.
Yeah, which is hilarious to me. And his dad's talking to him about going to Harvard and stuff like that. And that's when he sees I can't remember his name, his name in the movie, but Devon Sawa's character again. He's out there panhandling because he just got let loose from the loony bin. And that's when it kind of has like an emotional reflection. He's like, I don't want to end up like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm having fun now, but like I have to kind of like. And shout out.
Well, he had a whole movie before that happened. He had a whole movie of stuff to happen.
Yeah, but also shout out to that Devon Sawa scene in the shop. He's trying. I love that scene so much. Where he tries
it's like I'm a bum now.
When he's in the movie, like boy, does he belong in that movie? I love it. But so after that, they go to the park and they drop some acid. And they start walking around, they bang in public, which is very punk rock.
Very punk rock.
On a bench.
Yeah.
But his butt hurt. Got rash from the bench.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that shit is not comfortable at all.
Can't say that I've ever partaken.
Yeah.
You ain't ever lived.
Yeah, dude.
Apparently.
I've done it at a couple parks. Ray Ash is just one of them.
Oh
yeah. Anyways,
God damn it.
So yeah, they do the drugs, and and like he really starts having like an inner monologue about Like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, most of the movies like guided on him, where he just like kind of verbalizes his thoughts and like runs into people doing stuff.
Yeah, it's very fourth wally too. Like that's one of the things I like about this movie. Like he's telling the story, but he's telling the story to us. Like it's not like just a series of events that are happening. Like he's telling us the way he sees things through his eyes at that point in his life, because he's really narrating this story from actually after the events.
Yeah.
I don't know how far in the, he already when he meets Brandy or whatever, I think that's her name at the end of the movie. He like states that like this is where it started, insinuating that they eventually get married and shit or whatever. Even though getting married is for posers and fall your love is for posers, we all know that. So it's just from that point on, like the second half of the movie is really just like the awakening of responsibility is what I call it. Like he knows he needs to like grow the fuck up, and it was cool to do this in like your early 20s, but you get to that point in your life where you're like, I really need to do something,
The majority of like the movie after that really reveals to me, it's kind of just like you just see like the path and like everybody in his life like diverging.
Yeah, everyone's leaving.
They're like, like he's resistant to change, but he starts to like realize he starts to come to terms with like this thing is like this part of my life is infinite. As people start to go off and meet new people, everything that just naturally happens to like people you talk to when you're 18.
Yeah, so like Mark ends up leaving. Mike tells him that he's going to college and stuff like that. I don't remember where.
That was like one of the important scenes with him like coming to his conclusion at the end, where Mark says, "Hey, I'm going to Notre Dame," and then they're like, "Oh, like and he's like, "Oh, what are you gonna major?" He says, "Botany." And then he has that tangent, like where he talks about him like crashing all the windows out of the cars.
Yeah,
it's like this man once did this, and he's gonna go study pot. He's gonna go save the plants. And he goes, then he hit the rush, like someone's gotta fight for him, and like gets mad and punches the table.
Yeah. And also like during that time too, like Bob, Heroin Bob's also with what's her name, and
Trish.
Trish, and he's telling Steve like, hey, like I'm in love with this girl, like I want to be with this girl.
Steve and Bob have been through it all, so it's kind of like a big deal where like now you see like this person going off like because they have something with someone. Like they're not dependent on you like they were growing up, and like they're going off in their own life, and that's like kind of like a thing you do like that's an adult thing you do have to like come to terms with, like with some of your friends like that you just used to hang out with a lot. Like you're not going to hang out anymore for no reason, but it just people just go their own way because they have to.
Yeah, and like each of those three characters like kind of like represents something that he wants in himself too. Like Mark, he like goes to Miami. He's like, oh, I don't want to stay in Salt Lake City my entire life. Like Mike's obviously going off to college, and Bob is finding happiness in the relationship that he's in. That's all stuff that he wants. But you ain't gonna get the relationship one until later in the movie. But
and then, like you said, like he has a conversation with his dad where they go out, and like his dad, and he says like, "You're a lot like you." He's like, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "Oh, you're a lot more than you think." And that's when he says like, "Oh, but you got perfect grades. You took pre-law." And he said, that's when he gives an excuse. "Oh, I cheated the whole time." He says he gave a shit enough to cheat. That's a pretty good. I think that's a really impactful, like good scene. I think that's something like a lot of people come to terms with. Like, like maybe my dad was right. And you just like. You go off on it. Not everyone.
Not everyone.
It was a subtle, like it felt like a subtle real scene to me.
No, that's 100% a real scene because like eventually you hit a point in your life where you're like, okay, my parents were wrong. Especially when you become a parent too, and you find yourself saying the same exact things that they said to you when you were a kid to your child now. So I mean, it does kind of make sense, and like you kind of get this like you almost have an epiphany of sorts where you're like, okay, I was saying this stuff and rebelling against this, but in reality, this is the right thing to do. I may not have to do it the same way my parents did and do it my own way, but I see where they're coming from now.
Yeah. So that's kind of like when he runs into, as you were talking about, Devon Sawa's character Sean, where he's like, or he's just a bum. He's literally just a bum on the street now, and he's like accepted his fate, and he's just all cool with it.
Yeah, he seems happy.
He's also cracked out from pulling on acid.
He's out of his fucking vibe, but like he's just like so enthusiastic. Like, I'm a bum now. This is what I do.
He's so happy about it. He treasures that moment.
Treasures being a bum.
I mean, we all do. I mean, some of us sleep on couches.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I know.
But anyways, at least you're not Devon Sawa sleeping on the street. What's he doing nowadays? Probably that.
I believe he's done a TV show of sorts.
Oh no, he's definitely not sleeping on the street.
No, he's probably good. He got Final Destination money.
He got Stan money.
That too.
Stan money.
I thought you meant The Stand, like the Stephen King miniseries, and I was like, wait a minute, he meant like Stan the music video. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I had to register real quick.
Yeah. So,
Dear Stan.
That's so like right after that scene. That's when like Jason Segel's character is like, I'm going to college, and that's that's when he like has this full circle realization and kind of says, "Who am I fucking kidding? I'm gonna go to Hartford." And I remember, and then
Harvard?
like they go to Harvard. Why did I say that? But he was getting this girl Brandy hyped up to him at the party. Hyped up to him to meet at her party. It was her party in the first place, and then they go to this party after he has this like kind of like full circle like good realization.
Yeah,
and I thought that was actually a good spot to end the movie. And then they have this party, and it's like so, and like I almost was like jarred at first, and I was like kind of annoyed, like they could have just like not ended with like a party, and I kind of thought it was gonna go a different way, even with the whole girl thing. And but boy was I wrong.
You were.
Yeah. So he meets Brandy at this party, I think she's kind of annoying, honestly.
Why?
What? I just thought she was annoying, and I remember I got this like this whole. I kind of felt like this part was a little shoehorned in.
Yeah. Well, you know what else
like
was shoehorned in? The fact that he picked Crash. Anyways, move it along.
Wow! Going at me with the fire.
The daggers are sharpened tonight.
I'm just saying, this like whole little dialogue segment I felt was like a little shoehorned in.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it's just
like I don't think they have to put the girl thing at the end of it.
Nah, they really didn't. It was more like cannon fodder.
It was like a cool, like kind of like tongue in cheek thing, like where she was like, "Why do you go out of your way to act like this?" Well, and like kind of like ribs him into like, no, she's not telling him what to do, but like she is at this, but it's just, telling him not like what to do isn't the right word, but she's like suggesting like what he should do.
We all have a woman in our lives that do that.
But the thing is though, the thing is though, which is like. That would like be fine one way, but he already like kind of came to the self-realization where he's like not gonna be like this anymore, and he's gonna go on with his life. So I think it cheapens it a little to like put that on the back end of it.
At that point, he had that idea.
I know, but like I would have liked it better if they would have just like let him like come to the idea instead of like just putting this girl at the end like as like an extra. Like little razzle dazzle to like attach a girl to the end of it.
So I think for me, because like my take of this movie is like it's obviously a little bit of like growing up, or it's a lot of like growing up.
Yeah,
but I think it's also talking about how it also kind of explores how
he's honestly just is like the biggest poser in the entire movie.
Yep.
Because he's kind of bastardizing like the punk movement that he kind of like didn't have any knowledge of. Like he was kind of pulled into it from his friend, and then he lashed on to everything. And I think that's also a big reason why when people leave it, he's like, "Why are you leaving it?" Because like he just like that's like to him, it's more just like it's more of like a thing that he's just dissolved into, not like really necessarily the movement he's about.
Yeah, he's just a nerd playing Dungeons and Dragons and listening to rock.
Yeah. That is insightful. That is very true.
No, I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Especially like coming from his like background, where like he comes from a rich ass dad, like that's and then you juxtapose that to Bob's situation.
Yeah, like that's like something
that is fucking insane.
The thing, I kind of looked at him coming from the rich like dad though as like, fuck you, I'm not gonna conform to your ways. Like I kind of looked at it like that.
No,
like he was resisting being his dad.
It's part of. I'm saying it's part of that, but I think it's like I'm saying it's also part of like him not wanting to like kind of almost be like labeled as just a rich kid. He's just like, I'm a punk. Like he just like kind of like almost trying to denounce it because he like wants to be part of this movement.
I don't mean the rich kid.
But doesn't share the same. He doesn't share like the real values of the punk movement.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, being a college kid having a rich ass dad, it's kind of like when it was like kind of like started out as like anti-consumerism and things like that. It's kind of hard to be a true punk.
That's a fair assessment. Shuts my nonsense right down.
Go ahead.
Duh.
Holler if you hear me!
Whoa, slow down there, Chief. Looks like we are entering spoiler territory. If you have not seen this film and would prefer for it not to be spoiled, you may want to consider skipping to the timestamp provided below. Thanks for listening.
So, regardless of how I feel about the little girl shoehorned in at the end, they end up together. They end up like kind of having this night where like he really hits it off, and he's still kind of dealing with the fallout with that girl Sandy, who kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So this puts him in a really good place, and then the party ends because Heroin Bob gets way too wasted.
And then
heroin wasted.
And then someone is just like, "Here, take these for a headache."
And hands him like 4 pills.
Give him like a handful of pills.
Yep. And I didn't see it coming. Still.
Yeah.
And they take Heroin Bob home, and like always, Steve-O goes to wake Heroin Bob up for food, and Heroin Bob is very clearly not alive.
Of tomato soup.
That was such a sad moment. I did not see that coming.
It does hit pretty hard the first time seeing it.
It really does. Yeah. It really does.
You just get straight blindsided by that.
Yeah, because like this entire movie, like not one person has like had at any point like felt threatened by anything, but like they kind of allude to it in the beginning where they're like, yeah, he never takes drugs, like he never does this, he never does that, you know, so he just gets really drunk. So
I thought it was just supposed to be funny.
What the
like that the whole like he never does drugs. Well, we call him Heroin Bob. I just thought it was supposed to be funny. Like I didn't think into it at all.
No, 100%.
I think they trick you because you don't take this movie seriously at first, so you just like think it's like all just laughs.
They do, because like as soon as you get to this part of the movie, like you can tell, like, you know, it's like it's a fun movie, but then there were some serious undertones to it, like about the whole growing up and like people moving on and like just life changes in general. But you get to this scene and you like that's when you realize like this is literally like just a story about life, because that's how it is. Like someday you wake up and just your best friend is just dead. You know, they're gone. You can't talk to him anymore. You can't hang out with him anymore, and you're never expecting. Like he says that like while he's crying, he's like, "I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready for this," because he's 21 years old. He wasn't expecting to wake up and see his best friend dead. You know?
Yeah.
Especially when he doesn't do anything bad except for drink.
Yeah.
You know?
And like when this happens, see, like this is like the nail in the coffin. You're like, there's like nothing. There's really like nothing left for him there.
Yeah, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it's a somber moment, and then like you hear that it's because the girl just like gave him those pills, gave him pills that caused the lethal dose with all the alcohol.
Yeah, that shit happens. So if there's any kids listening to this, which there shouldn't be, because we say naughty words, don't ever accept pills from anyone if you're drinking, and also don't be drinking unless you're the legal age of 21.
So just don't accept pills from people.
That too, because you don't know what they're giving you.
That's just a good general rule of thumb.
Unless it's Adderall.
Just don't.
No, because you don't know if it's Adderall.
Yeah, just don't.
Know if it's Adderall, then take it.
Just don't.
You
Just
know
don't do
what the
drugs.
exact pill is, baby.
Yeah.
Don't let stranger danger at the party just give you some. Hey, yeah, kid, take this pill.
Yeah.
I swear it's just an Adderall.
That's how you accidentally smoke PCP.
How do you accidentally smoke PCP?
It was laced in a bowl, you know, when
Jesus.
So like I smoked the bowl, which had really good weed in it, but also happened to have really good PCP in it.
Superhuman?
Yes, I cleaned the entire house at 3 a.m. Piss ass drunk. Fun times.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was up until I want to say I think it was 3 p.m. the next day, and then I slept for almost 24 hours straight.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good time.
So, and then they have this little montage afterwards of like them as kids. And him like
montage.
Oh man. Well, not a montage, but that little scene where like he comes in with his cassette. He's like, "This shit is lame," and he gets all offended.
Always fade out
It's
in
like-
a montage.
It's like Rush is one of the greatest complex bands of all time.
I mean, he's not wrong. Rush, I'm not a super huge fan of Rush, but I will give him credit where credit is due. They are very influential to a lot of different musicians. And
I love this
Neil
little
Peart
scene,
is
though.
pretty beast.
Where Lil Heroin Bob gets him into punk. He's like, "Nah, what's not working? This nerd shit. This ain't for me."
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons. He's like, "What are you complaining about? You're a level 7 wizard master."
Yeah. Which that I love that scene because it was very much that was very much me when I was a kid, and still to this day I'm a huge fucking nerd. But music definitely helped me, I guess, be more social, I guess, in some situations, and make friends and go out and do stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's understandable. It wasn't punk music because I'm not a weirdo.
Not a punk.
Yeah, I don't like the punk music. But I love this movie.
Yeah, that was a pretty wholesome scene.
Yeah,
it's like real sad. But I love the ending too. When now he's just here on the bench and he's like, "Well, maybe I was a fucking poser the whole time." And talks about like how it was like basically him just getting past them, realizing it's just the phase of his life, and everyone grows up, and it's like okay. And then like I kind of felt those vibes, and it kind of made me think like too, like, you know, maybe I still got like one more show in me, but maybe I don't need to be moshing anymore.
Yeah, see? Welcome to my world. Yeah. Like, I'll never stop going to shows, but...
When those last two bands stop playing, like, that'll be it.
Yeah. Like, I'll never stop going to shows, but, like, moshing and stuff for me ended, like, 4 years ago. Yeah.
I gotta get back in shape. I got one more. I got a couple more in me.
Well, I'll be sure to go with you.
I didn't start moshing until I was 20. I got years still on these bones.
Yes. See, it was different for me because I was 14 when I started going to shows. So I've been in the pit for a while.
My mom didn't let me.
I did 10 years in the pit, so Actually, no, 12 years. Yeah, because I stopped when I was 26.
I mean, I started when I was like 16 and haven't really stopped. So
Well, I will say
I have over a decade of service.
when I do go to Prada shows, I still do the stage dives. You know, I'll still get up there and do my thing, but just for them because they deserve it.
This whole conversation reminds me of when time when we saw a lot of dispute in Thrice. And there was I was like back because I didn't really give a fuck about Thrice. And some guy was like there with his wife or girlfriend, and she's like, "No, honey, go. If you want to be in there, go in there." And like he looks like a kid in a candy store running towards the pit.
If that's not the realest fucking conversation, I don't know what is. That's pretty real. Get in there,
bold.
yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
See, I used to get told I was too old for that stuff. Maybe I'll go back to it. I don't know. I'm too old. I'm 30 now, so probably not.
30 is just a number.
Yeah, it's a mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, that's basically the whole movie. So we should probably get into the ratings.
I guess so.
Let's start with Ryan.
I thought like I said, pretty enjoyed it. I think there was actually a lot of like subtleties and like, just a lot of like subtleties going on in the movie. Even like it kind of talks about like even the two sides of like the punk movement. Like I was saying with like Matthew Lillard's characters, like coming from like really like the rich kid, like where like he's like about it, but like he really doesn't share the same values as like people like Bob because he just comes from a completely different walk of life when it comes to like financial stability, where like there's a reason why they want to be punks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with like subtleties like that, it makes me thoroughly enjoy like some stuff like that. I'm gonna give it a 7.9.
Ooh. Tyler.
All right. So yeah, this movie surprised me. I ended up really liking this movie a lot. We should have a Blu-ray so I can put it in my collection. But
it doesn't?
Nah, it doesn't.
Ooh.
But yeah, this is a pretty solid movie. Like really, kind of morphed into something more mature than like I thought it was gonna be, and told a really good story. And I would totally watch it again. Liked it a lot. I'm gonna go with a 7.7.
Wonderful. This is probably my 7th time watching this movie. I'm actually probably gonna I've seen it a lot. I'm probably gonna watch it again very soon. I actually found out today that it's actually my girlfriend's favorite movie. So it's kind of funny that we're reviewing it because I didn't even tell her what we were watching. And then she was like, "Whoa, what are you talking about tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, SLC Punk." She's like, "Oh, it's like one of my favorite movies." I'm like, "Oh, cool, cool."
Wild.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Like you like movies, nerd.
Like fucking nerd. So yeah, this is a movie that I'm always gonna come back to, no matter how many times I watch it. Just because, like, but it's a movie I watch very sparingly because, you know, it's only an hour and a half. And like after you see it once, like you know what's gonna happen. It doesn't hit as hard, so I try to take like a while to watch it again. Just because I like the ending to really hit, because like it's a good way to end the movie, and
that was a great way to end the movie.
Yeah, so I'm gonna come in at 8.5 on this. Solid movie. I'm not huge into the punk music, but the songs that they do play are classics. So I mean, can't really go wrong with it. Matthew Lillard. I think he's an underrated actor for some of the movies that he's in. I actually really like Matthew Lillard. I feel like he should be in some more stuff, but I mean, whatever. But yeah.
Also, we give this an average score of an 8.0. 8.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty highly rated.
Yeah.
John redeems himself.
After 2.5 stinkers, I have redeem myself.
2 stinkers in a movie for children.
You're welcome.
Which was only like tolerable because like we had to watch 2 stinkers before that. Like, okay, this one's not that bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a way of doing things. You know, you gotta have some dirt. You know, then you layer some dirt. You put the seeds on there, right? And this is the water to the seed. You know.
You've just been spraying manure down for the.
I did, yeah. Well, I wanted. So my original thought was, I definitely want to do these 3 movies. So let me just get them out of the way.
Yeah.
Like as soon as possible, because I like those movies. Like I'm not gonna lie, I like all 3 of those movies. I think they're all solid movies.
I like some movies that I know are just utter dog shit. Like,
yeah,
you like what you like.
Exactly. So I was like, I'll get rid of these, and then I have some of these backdoor like movies that I think are really, really good that I hope everyone else will also like as well.
Yeah.
And then I have some more shit.
we all got shit.
Yeah, especially you. Anyways.
Oh shit down here.
But
on that note, what are we watching next week?
That's good.
All right. So the last cycle we kind of had a lot of, let's say, like kind of comfort movies, like bread and butter movies. And for me, my comfort food movie is kind of like crime dramas. Like crime dramas and like horror mysteries, that stuff kind of like put in.
Good
so, hey, I like my speech. So I look to one of my favorite directors on this, who really made good contributions to both sides of the genre in the early part of his career, and that's Mr. Brian De Palma.
Okay.
Who went on to make some pretty badass movies like Scarface. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be watching his crime drama from 1981, Blowout.
I was hoping you were going to say that musical one.
Phantom of the Paradise?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Well, watching Blowout, which I'll give you a quick description. A movie sound recordist accidentally records the evidence that proves that a car accident was actually a murder and consequently finds himself in danger. Starring John Travolta, Nancy Allen, John Lithgow.
Oh.
Got a good little cast on this one. So,
all right.
Wow, that's a random ass movie. Where do we watch that?
That's not that.
Can we watch that?
Where can we watch it? Well, I have it on Blu-ray, so.
Oh, so we can watch it.
Or for the people, if there's someone who's listening would like to listen to watch it.
Actually, there's a really sweet site that tells you that. Actually, my little movie app is on it. No, actually, this will tell you. It just breaks down exactly where you can watch it if you look it up on. It's like IMDb, but also like mixed with like Instagram. It's weird, but you can watch this. Oh. Where do you
Nothing.
I know.
Watch it on Pluto TV.
Yeah, you can watch it on Blu-ray with Tyler. Oh, so he says on Pluto TV. And
you can buy it on YouTube. You can buy it on YouTube.
Oops. Well.
All right.
We'll
call it out because you have nowhere to watch it.
All right. Well, this concludes the 15th episode of There Will Be Gentlemen.
16th.
I know. I was keeping with the meme, dude.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm dense.
So this ends the 16th episode of There Will Be Gents Movie Podcast, where I have been John all night. Who have you guys been?
Oh my god!
Oh my god, it's Tyler!
Oh my god.
It's Ryan! Oh my god, Sandy! Alright, so we'll catch you next week with some more John Travolta voices. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.